Hey guys, welcome back to CapView. So this is going to be part 2 of my best, iconic, scariest, creepiest human serial killers. Some of them aren't serial killers, but they have killed. They have tasted the blood. And so this is going to be my list on the human factor. If you haven't seen part 1, definitely check it out. I will put a card up so you guys can go watch that. That's the first part. I've listed some really dope ass killers on that one. And we're going to continue, and I will start it off with a bang, and we are going to go straight into it. Now, my number one killer on this list is going to be Mick Taylor. Now, Mick Taylor from Wolf Creek is a different breed, you guys. He is one of those killers, and I mentioned this in my last video. There are killers that are creepy, there are killers that are like completely terrifying, there are killers that are just interesting because you're like, I want to know more, I want to learn. Like, it's just fascinating to watch, I guess, as an audience member. Mick Taylor is not one of those killers. Mick Taylor's character. He's the one that you want to just run for the hills from. You want to throw up. You're gonna be sick. You're gonna be just disturbed. You're gonna like crawl in your skin and want to hide under your blanket and drink a warm cup of milk with some cookies after watching him. It's just no bueno, you guys. It's just, oh, I'm thinking about it now. I watched a scene with him last night to refresh my memory on how fucking crazy he is, and he is just disgusting. Mick Taylor enjoys torture, brutal torture. He has a specific uh, move that he likes to do where he stabs you with a giant fucking knife, a giant hunter's knife that's about this big. It's like a Crocodile Dundee situation. And he stabs the spinal cord and then twists it so he paralyzes you. It's so fucking horrible. I mean, I've seen like, the Achilles tendon slice with like Hostel and stuff. I've seen some really disgusting shit. And I thought that was a really articulate and interesting move that they decided to put for this character. But actually watching it was so fucking horrible. The first Wolf Creek when I saw that he did that to the what was supposed to be the final girl, I was so upset and devastated, you guys. It was so upsetting. You thought she was gonna make it, and then he did that, and it's just like so fucking upsetting because it legit like it just disables you completely. Like you can't move. Your spinal cord is severed and you just can't move, and then you're just waiting for him to do whatever he's going to do to kill you and finish you off. But there are so many torturous scenes that he doesn't have a specific, he likes to use the knife, but he will shoot you with a rifle from like miles away and just blow half your brains out. Like there's a scene, I think in the second one, where he just shoots these police officers and it's just half this guy's head, it's just in half. Like it's this, you just see brain, and just like it's so disturbing. He's just so disgusting and vile, and he is that psychopath that you watch and you're just like absolutely terrified of him because he won't stop and he doesn't care. And he can come off, there are scenes where he's in the public and he can come off as normal, and if anything he just comes off as a smug, arrogant, annoying Australian guy because it's an Australian film. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really see serial killer stamped on him. He just comes off as this ignorant person that lives in the outback in the bush. Um, yeah, no, he's absolutely terrifying. He will hunt you down, and he will find a way, and he will torture the crap out of you. He will kill everybody, all your friends, and there's almost no escaping him, and it's insane. And these movies are just disgusting, and they will make you want to hurl. So Mick is he's up there, you guys. Okay, number 2 on this list is going to be the iconic Ben Willis from I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Ben Willis is basically a human. He was a regular guy. He was a dad, and his daughter was tragically killed, Susie Willis, by her boyfriend, who I think was drunk, and I think he killed them in a car accident. And then ironically, Ben gets hit by a car of teenagers that have been drinking and going out and partying and just being reckless. And he essentially makes it his mission to torture and traumatize and stalk and terrorize these four teenagers that wronged him, basically, that tried to kill him and get away with murder. And there's actually a scene where he says that to Julie when she enters the boat. Um, and he's, like, oh, you should be out having fun, you know, enjoying your life, murdering people, getting away with it, things like that. And it's so good. It's so good. He delivers that line so well. And yeah, Ben Willis is just so scary when he has the coat and it's just dark, and he's got the hook hand, and he's just like, he's brutal. Like the scene where he kills R.I.P. That is like one of the hardest scenes to watch every time I see it. But the scene where he kills Helen, I was gonna say Buffy, Sarah Michelle's character Helen. That is so difficult to watch, especially because I've seen her. Like I know she played Cece. That was sucky. But like I see her as Buffy, and Buffy's so badass, and like you know what I mean. And Buffy doesn't die. I mean, she did die and she came back, but you know what I mean, you guys. And it's like to watch her play these characters, these innocent women who like struggle and then get ultimately meet their demise. And the way she did, she was so close. And then the fireworks and the tires, bloody Ben Willis. But yeah, that was like traumatic to see. I didn't really care much when he killed Ryan Philippe's character. But yeah, Helen's character was hard to watch. But he's just so smart, and it's like there's stuff about this film that honestly doesn't make sense. But it's like those, some horror movies, you've got to go into it and like just tune out the reality of it, the logical of it. And so like for example, there's a scene where he kills, he like hooks this guy through the throat and like drags him across. That was so dope, by the way. And then he just puts all these crabs and this guy's dead body in Julie's boot. And she's driving and she hears like scratching and she's like, the fuck? And then she like goes and it's like this guy and there's crabs everywhere, right? It's just a mess. And there's crabs crawling out of his throat and he's just horrible, right? Traumatic. And then Julie runs inside, she gets everybody, she comes back out, opens it, the boot's like spick and span and perfect. And there are some moments in these movies that over the years, I've rewatched this obviously 1,000 times. I know last time was like one of my favorite films, top two. And I've watched it so many times and I'm just like, what was Ben Willis and what was Julie's imagination? Because he does such a good job of terrorizing these people, specifically Julie. But like, oh, it's so good. And Ben is just such a good killer. I think underrated because of the film and the 90s and people, they just make fun of the cheesiness of those kinds of horror films. But I loved those kinds of horror films. I wish we still had them now. I thought they were so well done. And yes, maybe the acting wasn't top notch and the writing wasn't, it's not Hitchcock, but like it was really well done in my opinion for what it was. And I really enjoyed the storytelling and I loved Ben Willis. So he's going to be iconic for a very long time in my heart, always. Okay, so number 3 on this list is going to be the iconic that I have spoken about many a time on this channel, is Leatherface. Leatherface. Now, what can we say about Leatherface? He enjoys to kill, and he likes to wear your face on his face. Sometimes he will put makeup on it though, if you want to feel pretty. I mean, you're dead, you don't know that. But he puts makeup on. He did that in the last film, terrible film. But like that was a cool scene where like it was like his mother figure, and he like, he loved her, you guys. He loved her, so he skinned her face, put it on his face, and then put her makeup on to make her pretty, to keep her with. That's Leatherface. So there's many versions of Leatherface. There is the version of Leatherface that you feel sorry for almost, where his family just dictates everything and treat him like this really dumb, stupid, non-human being, which is probably why he is the monster that he is, and he does the things that he does, and he thinks it's okay. I think it was actually the Leatherface film where it sort of tries to portray him like that as a prequel, and you see how he's taught and just used as this like blunt instrument to kill cattle, because they have the farm, and then he essentially like I think he injures somebody, and then in turn kills them, and then they basically like, oh, it's fine, it's just like it's like a cow, it's just another thing of flesh, like it's not, doesn't matter that it's a human being, and they sort of like write his story like that. I found that quite interesting and fascinating for such a deranged psychopathic fucking murderous killer who enjoys killing, to be fair, in every other film and portrayal that I've ever seen him in. So that was different and interesting, but yeah, he's still a complete fucking psychopath. He's one of the most terrifying terrifying killers. So that's why he's on my list. Okay, coming in at number 4 on this list is going to be a one that maybe not many people have thought of, and that is, I can't remember her name, the chick who is in Swim Fan who kills people. The stalker chick. The crazy chick. You know which one I mean. I'll put photos up. So, in Swim Fan, I think it's Jesse. Again, I forget his name. He was so popular in the 90s. But he plays a swimmer and he's on this like swim team. And there's this character. She comes into the scene. She, comes to the high school, whatever. And she has a thing for him and she really likes him and she really wants him and whatever. So they end up sleeping together, even though he's got a girlfriend. He cheats on his girlfriend. Terrible. And he ends up sleeping with her in the pool one night. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I've made a big mistake. I'm sorry. And then she turns into like the bunny boiler, essentially. So she just starts stalking him and like showing up to places and trying to force this relationship and telling him that they're like together and all these kinds of crazy shit. And he's just like, whoa, stalker level 100. And essentially, at some point, he kind of gets a little violent with her and makes it very clear that he's not interested and she needs to stay the fuck away from him and his girlfriend. And if he ever sees her again, he will kill her or something along the lines of that. He has this whole speech. And then you see like this like snap where she goes from like adoring him and having him as this like idolized, um, you know, version. And then you see the snap where she's like, oh, now you're my enemy. Now you're going to pay. And then she proceeds to just, again, terrorize him. She kills his best friend. She tries to drown his girlfriend, I think in a chair, in a wheelchair. She like throws her in the pool in a wheelchair, like stuck to a chair. And she just does all kinds of crazy shit. And yeah, she does actually kill. And she's apparently killed before. She was in a mental institution or she was all kinds of crazy before this, and you find out this like backstory, which is really cool as well. And I really enjoyed her performance, so that's why she's on my list. Okay, moving on to number 5 on this list, and that is going to be the second family on us, the deranged, creepy, the others, the other people, the other side, the rabbit eaters version of us. Specifically, I have to focus and hone in on, of course, you guys know, Lupita Nyong'o's character. The way she performed that role, the crazy like head tilts and the eyes and just like the mouth stuff and the pose she does, like I can't. That was insanely scary. And like to be fair, the film itself wasn't like terrifying. It was a really well done film, well produced, directed. It was a good film, but specifically Lupita Nyong'o's character. What's her face? God damn it. Um, Shit Son, Elizabeth Moss, that's the one. Elizabeth Moss was also really, really good in this film. I really loved her portrayal. She has a great knack of playing like a serial killer. Like, she's not actually a serial killer, but like she looks like a psychopath. I feel like I need to see her in a role where she's actually playing a serial killer psychopath because um, she's just got a really, she just makes great facial expressions. But Lupita Nyong'o and her character in this film as the second us person, she's just so good and so terrifying and so creepy and unnerving. I would pee my pants if she was in front of me. Like, and you don't know what she's gonna do next, and she's unpredictable and just absolutely scary. The whole family, to be fair, like to see this like mock version of yourself, a doppelganger, is in an evil like form of yourself is absolutely terrifying in itself. The thought of that, but the way she performs it is just yeah, it's really scary and horrifying, and like she's just such a great character. Okay, let's keep it rolling with another group of human psychopaths, and that is the group from The Strangers, the killers from The Strangers, the film The Strangers, also The Strangers 2, I think Pray at Night, was it? But specifically that first one with Liv Tyler and what's his name, Scott Speedman. That was really well done. I really enjoyed the difference in masks. The one that has like the Jason Sackface situation going. Then there's the one that wears like the kid mask, the blonde one. I hated her. She was so fucking annoying. Oh my god, I was so happy when she got killed. It was so satisfying. She was is what's her name? It's like is Tyler home? Is Taylor home? I don't know what she says, but she fucking just keeps saying it. And me watching this film, by the way, I don't want to do a review of this film, but me watching this film where she's like, no, he's not home, and then she comes back and asks again, I'd be like, do you know what I mean? Like, I would not have entertained that shit. I would have called the police. I would have done something. Like, they just took way too long. So, unfortunately, they met their ultimate demise, which was really upsetting, to be honest with you. But Liv Tyler falling over, I mean, come on, you guys. But yeah, these killers were absolutely terrifying. They just did such a good job of scaring this poor, sweet, innocent couple that just trying to find their way back to each other, and it's all broken and it's all fucked up and shit. And like he proposes to her, and she's like, "No, thank you, but thanks, but no." And like it's just the way that they terrorized them. They scared them so much to the point where they shot their friend in the head with a shotgun and killed him. Like that's how terrifying these people were. Like they're like just standing at your window and you don't know. There's a scene, oh my goodness, where she's like standing there and he's just like right behind her walking, like Michael Myers style. It was terrifying. They're right on the windows, like in blood or whatever. It's just the creepy music, like in this film. The killers in The Strangers are just again that different kind of psychopath where it's just blank and there's nothing there. It's like Michael, it's just evil. And they don't like the blonde chick has the most personality and all she does is ask a question essentially. And I think they ask why at the end of the film before they get murdered. Like they're like, why? Why ask? Why are you doing this? Why? And I think she just says, why not? Or something like that. Oh no, she says, because you were home. Yeah, complete psychopaths because you were home. Why not? You answered the door. Now you die. But the guy kind of terrifies me the most out of the three. I think it's two women and a male character. But the guy with the mask, he terrifies me the most. Not just because of the how he looks. I mean, that's pretty fucking scary. You put a mask on someone, it's just gonna instantly terrify the shit out of you. And the fact that he's so solemn and he just stands there, he doesn't do like the head tilt like Michael does. The whole like he doesn't do that, but he just stands there and that's just eerie in itself. And then he slowly walks and he's so calm and like just completely like just there's nothing there. And that's really terrifying to me. So they're on my list. Okay, the next killer on my list, and I'm grinning because this is a fun one for me. Again, I have said this before. I know people don't want to root for the killer, but I do. I like the antagonist. I can't help it. I enjoy some of the performances, and this one is played by Russell Crowe in Unhinged. I will put the character's name down here. Russell Crowe is so fucking good in this film. The film isn't great, but Russell Crowe makes this film worth watching for real. I did a review on it, I believe. He's very good in this film. He is one of the best villains I have seen. Just enjoyable to watch. He's ruthless. He is dominating. He is psychotic. He's smart though. He takes his time, but then he's like impulsive. Like he's just you don't know what he's gonna do, and it's just fantastic to watch. It was really enjoyable. I wish there was more. I've said this in my review. I wish there was more killing. I wish we saw the best friend, like her friend, the woman die in the car. I just wish I saw more of him. But I kind of felt bad at times, but not really. Not really. I didn't like the female character. I mentioned this. I didn't like her brother. Did they deserve to die? Morally, I guess no. But that's the film you're watching, you guys. You gotta strap in. And that's the film you're watching, and you gotta pick a side. And I'm sorry, but like Russell Crowe was so good. The only one I didn't like was when he killed Jimmy Simpson's character, because I like Jimmy Simpson. But like, he was so good in this film. And essentially, this is what ticks him off. Like he's already had a psychotic break and he murders his wife because she's cheating on him, I believe. And he just walks in with like a hammer, I believe. I think it's a hammer, and he just like beats the fucking shit out of both of them, murders his wife, whatever. And then he's driving, and this stupid woman just honks him out, and essentially he has road rage, and then he just terrorizes this woman and kills everybody around her, kills everybody, doesn't care. He kills somebody in the diner and nothing happens to him. Like he just smashes this guy's head and just kills him in a diner full of people with cameras and all that shit. Like he just doesn't care. Um he sets a guy on fire. He kills cops. Like he has no fucks. He's completely unhinged, as the title suggests. So he was such a good character, and like the fact that he died from a fucking, what was it, like scissors, so it's just a stupid fucking kill, because he did seem quite unstoppable, and I guess they had to make her the final girl in the end. I don't know why she was such a shit character. She was poorly written. So to me, I really would have loved rather to have seen him come out of it alive and not necessarily murder her, but like maybe, one of those endings where like you think the killer's dead, like a Ben Willis situation. You think he's dead, but he comes back for more, and then she escapes, and then they recast her and they make it a good fucking movie. That's what should have happened. But instead, they killed off this fantastic character played by Russell Crowe. So he's gonna be one of the most iconic villains. If you haven't seen Unhinged, honestly, watch it just for Russell Crowe's performance. He plays such a great psychopathic killer, and that's why he's on my list. Okay, next on my list is going to be another Texas Chainsaw throwback. You guys thought it was just Leatherface? No, no. We are going to bring in Sheriff Hoyt to this list. Sheriff Hoyt, specifically in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, the Matt Bomer, Jordana Brewster one. Holy crapola. You really get to see his character shine. And by shine, I mean fucking disgusting and terrifying and scary and like holy fuck, he's just so gross and bad. You honestly, when you see his character in this film, you're like, which one is worse? The whole family, to be honest with you, like the mum, the old lady grandma, like the guy with the knee, like the granddad, and then like Leatherface, and then like Sheriff Hoyt, and you're just like, oh my god, this whole fucking family is so deranged and terrifying. But Sheriff Hoyt is like on another level. He really treats people like cattle. He really just doesn't care. And again, I mentioned that he sort of influenced, Leatherface in that film or whatever. That it doesn't matter. He's so gross, you guys. Like the way he treats the women in that film, the way he just like there's a scene where he walks up, and of course he's the sheriff, so you don't know that you go into this small town and he's playing the sheriff. He's got the badge on, like he's got the uniform, and you think he's a good guy. He's supposed to be the authorities that you would go to for help, for protection, and instead he's this absolute deranged psychopath who is in charge of this other psychopath with a chainsaw, and between the two of them you're fucked. Like, so there's a scene where there's like, I think, a biker chick, and like she's with like the teenagers, and I think she's like trying to pull them over or whatever. I don't know what she's doing, and then like they're trying to get help and they don't know what to do, and he just pulls up and he just like literally point blank just like shoots her with a shotgun, blows her like 10 feet out of the like thing, and it's just such a cool iconic scene. There's a few of them where Sheriff Hoyt is actually quite terrifying. He's so creepy. Yes, oh dear, be scared, be very scared. Be afraid, be very afraid of Sheriff Hoyt. That's why he's on my list. Okay, now the final killer that I'm going to put on this list is going to be Ben Affleck's character in Deepwater. He stars in that with Ana de Armas. They basically play this really toxic, crazy, ridiculously broken couple. I don't know how they have a kid, by the way. None of the chemistry works. Like, it's ironic because I think they were together in real life, but there's like, it was so badly like done. Like, I didn't feel the chemistry in this film between them as a couple, but I guess that's what they were trying to go for, the tension and the brokenness and like the back and forth, and it's so like toxic. Their relationship is so toxic. I was watching this film like, why the fuck are you two people together? I'm not trying to be like cruel or vulgar or like describe. I'm trying to describe the character as it's been portrayed in the film, and if you watch it, you'll understand what I mean. Like, she literally sleeps with other men in front of her husband, which is played by Ben Affleck. She taunts him. She will like flirt with other guys heavily. She will touch them. She will like say things that are very inappropriate. She invites these young men over for dinner, in front of her children and in front of her husband. And she's very promiscuous and doesn't hide it, not even a little bit. And essentially, like, goes out and tells him she's going to go out and doesn't really, like, divulge any information. She just says that they're all her friends and she's just going to see her friend and spend time with her friends. And in reality, she's fucking all of these guys, and it's just disgusting. And Ben Affleck knows about this, and he basically plays this really interesting psychopath who essentially kills all of her lovers. And yeah, you get to see like this really great scene where there's a pool and he kills one of the guys, which I actually am happy that he killed this guy because it was just so fucking annoying. The one where he killed with the rock, that was kind of cool, but like the one in the pool, he fucking deserved it. He slept with Ben Affleck's wife in their house. Like, no, no, goodbye, you're done. So I was happy that Ben killed him. But yeah, there's a scene where she's in the pool with this guy and she's like completely on top of him and they're like all over each other, which is so gross. Like, imagine seeing your spouse and your partner disgusting. Like, I wish he killed her, but he doesn't kill her. But he kills everybody that she sleeps with though, and everybody she cares about. So it's kind of like a sadistic, toxic torture that they keep going on in this game that they play. And then she finds out, by the way, at the end, like she didn't know, but she finds out, and like she doesn't do anything about it. She just gets mad at him, like, but like it's comedic. But yeah, so there's a scene in the pool, and his face just changes, and he looks like every white man serial killer ever. Like, I think that he studied really well for this role to play it. And again, while I didn't love the film and I thought it was just so twisted and like bizarre and it was hard to follow, there were some really great twists and it had me thinking at the end and I was just like, holy crap, this is a genius film. Like, it was like one of those films that I watched and I was like, what the fuck? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh my god, mind blown. So I think it's worth a watch, but Jesus, Anna de Armas's character is just terrible. This couple is so wrong, and you're gonna really struggle. I feel like watching this if you watch it because of her. There are characters that you kind of love to hate. I didn't love any of this. I just hated her, and I didn't like him. But I enjoyed some of the kills, and I enjoyed his character. So that was quite fun. I want to give a quick shout out also to a few killers that I'm not going to go on about, but the killer from My Bloody Valentine, I think his name is Harry, maybe. Um, I want to say Marla Grayson, who I mentioned in my previous, which is played by Rosamund Pike in I Care a Lot. She's not necessarily a killer, I don't think, but she gets pretty damn close to it. And she's like very ruthless, very methodical, so she's on my list. Also, another shout out to Emma Roberts from Scream 4. Yes, I know Emma Roberts. You wouldn't think I'd mention her, but she was in fact a killer. And the dedication she had in that scene where she just like she runs and stabs herself and she's like falls onto the glass table. I mean, just for the dedication alone, the performance was pretty terrible. Trying to play up the fucking innocent act and then the deranged killer act. Like, I didn't buy it. I'm sorry, Emma, but I didn't buy it. But I really enjoyed that scene where she just tortured herself, very Amy Dunn, I should say, of herself to do. And so that was just, I just had to give a little shout out to those characters in film because they were also really cool. So that is the end of this list, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched both parts, if you've gotten this far, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I really enjoy you guys here. I appreciate anyone who watches and leaves comments or anything like that. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And I'll be back soon with another list probably. So thank you for watching and I'll see you guys on the next one.